Welcome back. So we're 2 days out from free agency, so consider this part two of a look at free agency. And we'll start with Evgeny Malkin, the one that everybody was saying, why isn't he on the board? He's not on the board for two reasons that first time. He didn't get enough points, and he didn't get enough points because he didn't play very many games last year. He played half the season. 41 games, 20 goals, 22 assists, 42 points. And that has to be a red flag. That's the thing with Malkin. He's one of the most talented, purely talented players in the last 20 years in the National Hockey League. However, you know he's going to get hurt and he's probably going to miss significant amounts of time. I don't know that that affects his value on the market should he go to market. The most recent talk has been that he wants 4 years. Pittsburgh's offering him 3, so we'll see if he hits the market. But at $9.5 million being the cap hit of the contract he's coming off of, and him being 35 years of age, I'd be wary of a contract in that same region if I was another team. Like, again, because while Malkin's great when he's in the lineup, he does get hurt a lot. Done videos on it. He gets hurt quite often. And then Andre Palat, 77 games, 18 goals, 31 assists, 49 points. All indications are that Tampa is doing their best to re-sign Palat. They want to get him done. $5.3 million is the amount of the contract he's coming off of, and he's 31 years of age. So how this works is he probably wants to stay in Tampa, but at age 31, he realizes this might be his last contract, especially if he gets a long-term deal. And so he'd want to get the best contract he can, right? So if that's with Tampa, so be it. And if it's not, we'll see. Now, one restricted free agent who's become unrestricted that's on the board is Dylan Strome. 69 games, 22 goals, 26 assists, 48 points. And I have Strome on the board for a very simple reason. A, he is going to be a UFA, and B, because this shows how it's going to change the market once we get every team's qualifying offers known, all done. Strome had a $3 million cap hit this past year. He's 25 years of age. Definitely going to be teams that look at him at 25 years of age with a 22-goal season and say that's pretty attractive for us. If we can get him on a long-term contract, we should. Now, whether that is or isn't a good idea, we can all debate that after, but in all likelihood, Strome's going to get himself a pretty good contract. He had a really good run there, and you can argue he had good line mates. Most players with good stats do. It's rare for a guy to have really good stats with terrible line mates. So yeah, I think Strome's going to, and other restricted free agents becoming unrestricted is going to skew the market a bit. Then you have Paul Stastny, a name that came up a lot on that first video. Stastny, 71 games, 21 goals, 24 assists, 45 points. His cap hit this past season, $3.75 million. Working against Stastny, age, 36 years of age, and Malkin is almost 36. So that definitely works against both players. It'll probably be a 1 or a 2 year deal for Stastny. I thought he had an okay year. Again, 20 goals. Does he get that again next year? It is remarkable how, as players age, they'll suddenly fall off that cliff offensively. And that's something I'd be worried about with Stastny. So the younger players like Strome will probably get those calls first, and then Stastny might be secondary. Nino Niederreiter, 75 games, 24 goals, 20 assists, 44 points. As Carolina fans keep waiting for good news out of Carolina and not some of the other stuff that's out there, which I'm not reporting on. So 3.75 or $5.25 million is the cap hit for Niederreiter. I don't think he gets that again, but we'll see what the market does with his value. He's 29 years of age. So again, Niederreiter is a 20-goal scorer. He's still in his 20s. That's going to have some value. I thought he was very good. I'm kind of surprised he's not staying in Carolina, but I'm surprised at how many players Carolina's just letting go. We'll see what they do in the offseason to replenish their ranks, but they've been creative the last few years, and it's usually worked out pretty well. Don Waddell's kind of got me not doubting him anymore. Evan Rodrigues, who had a career year, 82 games, 19 goals, 24 assists, 43 points. His cap hit this past year was $1 million. It's going to go up. But there's going to be a warning flag here, just a little flag, in that a lot of his scoring was in the first half of the season. A lot of his scoring was when he was getting increased ice time with top guys being out. And he's 28 years of age. It was a career year. It was a great year for Rodrigues. I don't know that he can follow it up with another one like that. So we'll see what his value is on the market. Rickard Rakell, 70 games, 20 goals, 21 assists, 41 points. $3.79 million cap hit this past year. 29 years of age. I like Raquel, 20 goal scorer. He's going to be a popular target. At 29, again, he's still not too old. And so we'll see what his value looks like on Wednesday. But yeah, there's going to be, I would think, multiple bidders. I don't think he goes back to Anaheim. I would think if Pittsburgh was going to sign him, it would have happened by now. So, yeah, Raquel likely hitting the market. Pretty sure already was hitting the market anyways. Same with Max Domi. 72 games, 11 goals, 28 assists, 39 points. Now, his cap hit, $5.3 million. He won't get that again. Domi, 27 years of age. I think at times Domi's been overrated. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think he's a little bit underrated, and I'm saying just a little bit. I don't know if there's a top 6 forward there anymore, but I think there's a decent third-line player. And I think if he's paid right and he's with the right team, right mix, I think he can be effective. I still think Max Domi can be effective. He has bounced around the league. There are red flags around that with him, but I still think he can be an effective forward. So maybe he ends up with a team that I cheer for. Maybe he ends up with Boston. Maybe Vancouver gets in on him too. We'll see, but at age 27, I don't think teams are going to give up on him just yet. But his next contract that he signs, there's going to be some pressure on him to perform because, again, he's played his way out of a lot of cities at this point. Evander Kane, 43 games, 22 goals, 17 assists, 39 points. $2.1 million was the contract he signed with the Oilers. He's still fighting the Sharks on their contract termination, which could affect him signing somewhere else. I don't think it will, but it could. 30 years of age for Kane. He really fell into a good situation in Edmonton. I think it's a shame he's leaving Edmonton because I think that was kind of perfect for him. I mean, 22 goals in 43 games. That's about a 40-goal pace over a full season. I don't think you get 40 goals out of him unless he went to a team like Colorado. Maybe the Rangers if he's with the right line mates. But you're going to have to find that absolute sweet spot. And then with Kane's big personality and all the things that brings, you have to have a locker room that can kind of keep that under control. It felt like in Edmonton, a lot of the idiosyncrasies of character were really tamped down, and he was on his best behavior, and so you need a locker room that's able to handle that. Riley Smith. Now, there's an asterisk because Riley Smith was rumored to have had a deal in place with the Vegas Golden Knights. But it hasn't officially been announced yet. So he has 56 games, 16 goals, 22 assists, 38 points. The rumored deal is a $5 million a year deal again with Vegas, the same cap hit he already had. He's 31 years of age. I do have some concerns about his ability to stay healthy for a full season at this point. But Riley Smith, of course, is an original VGK member, and it's nice to see that they're trying to keep them there. I'd be surprised if he hits the market because there were some pretty reliable reports that he was going to be re-signing in Vegas for $5 million a year, but that they had to announce it at a certain point, and it might be on the 13th that they officially announce it, right? And then there's 4 guys here I want to talk about. Frank Vatrano, one of my favorite players. Yes, absolutely. 71 games, 18 goals, 14 assists, 32 points for Vatrano. He had a very good season. $2.53 million is the cap hit for Vatrano, and he's 28 years of age. Honestly, he's a very hard worker. He can fulfill various roles within the lineup, and I like Vatrano quite a bit. So we'll see where he ends up. Ilia Mccabe as well. I'm surprised he's not staying in Toronto, but I know Toronto has some cap issues to deal with as well. 53 games, 21 goals, 11 assists, 32 points, a cap hit of $1.65 million. I think Vatrano and Mccabe both get a slight bump up in their money. For Mccabe, he's also 27, so that might be an attractive 6-year contract that we could see for Mccabe. So, again, kind of surprised Toronto's not bringing him back, but Toronto's got their plans they're setting in motion, and we'll see what they look like when all the smoke clears. Ryan Donato, 74 games, 16 goals, 15 assists, 31 points for Seattle. And that might be the ceiling for him. Playing in Seattle, he obviously would get a good chance at ice time, power play time, and all that fun stuff. And so 16 goals might be the ceiling. He only made $750,000 this past season, and he's 26 years of age. So the fact that he's 26 means there will be some interest. I wouldn't mind seeing him back in Boston if Boston could make it work. I thought he was good in Boston, just didn't quite get the kind of breaks he might have wanted. So we'll see where he ends up, but I wouldn't mind seeing him with Boston. And Tyler Motte, who of course was traded by Vancouver at the deadline, 58 games, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points. His cap hit was $1.22 million. 27 years of age. Whoever gets Motte, they're getting a really good bottom six forward, an energy guy who can do a little bit of everything. His scoring, not fantastic, so that's going to limit how much money he makes. But again, very good energy forward, bottom six guy. And I think he provides you with some pretty good value as well. And then just as a mention, I want to throw up Nikita Zadorov's name, who I thought he had a good year with Calgary. And this is another one. I'm kind of surprised they're not bringing him back. 74 games, 4 goals, 18 assists, 22 points, $3.75 million was the cap hit this past year. He is 27 years of age. And it felt like he brought something to the Calgary lineup that they needed on the blue line. So we'll see how they replace that or who they replace that with. Do they give Valimaki another chance next year? What's going to happen there? What's the plan going to be for Calgary? So Zadorov hitting the market. He may end up making a similar cap hit to what's expiring on his contract now, because that big and he's big. He's a big physical defenseman. Does he skirt that line and sometimes cross it? Sure, but big physical defensemen usually do. Zadorov, I think, will be welcome on a lot of blue lines in the NHL, and we'll see what happens. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.